What's up, everybody? Shawn back here with another live to roll. This week we're talking caregiving, which is super big topic for a lot of us, especially quads, but for pretty much everybody with a disability, caregiving is a major thing. So we're gonna get into that. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to start putting them into the chat. We'll get to them at some point. But so for some intros, I am Shawn. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 19 years ago. Tom, don't you take it away?
What's up, everybody? Tom Conaway, C6B quadriplegic from an automobile accident 25 years ago. And yeah, coming at you guys from beautiful, sunny Southern California. And it's a tough topic, good topic, important topic. I would argue to say one of the more important topics that we have touched on quite a bit in the past, but it's a really great one to revisit and a very topical one, at least for Shawn and I think your guest Gary too, because let's be honest, caregivers are a part of like many of our everyday lives. So that dynamic, the process of hiring new caregivers, like maintaining good care and good balance in your life is I think an ongoing constant thing. So we're going to be talking about it today. And we're very excited to have a literal family and friend from Houston. We met our buddy Gary last year at the Houston Abilities Expo. We're hanging out, and he was gracious enough to join us today. So, bro, you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Man, it's so great to be on the show, Live to Roll. Yes,
We appreciate
we did
you, man.
meet. We did meet in Houston. I'm glad y'all came out here to come out here and see what the life is out here.
Muggy, sunny Houston.
Yeah, it was muggy out there, but it was fun.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to
It was
Humidity.
beautiful, dude. The people were beautiful. It was really amazing the whole time. So.
And yeah, thanks for hopping on, Gary. This is kind of a last minute ad. Gary just messaged right before earlier after my Facebook post about because he's been dealing with some caregiving and travel stuff, and so yeah, thanks for hopping on last minute, bro.
Yeah, just really share a little bit more about myself. 36 years old. Actually approaching my 15th year anniversary, May 14th. I was also in a motor accident when I was in college. I fell asleep in the back seat of a truck. I didn't wear a seatbelt, but I wear a seatbelt now every day. Hopefully I don't get slingshot out of my wheelchair and running over some jagged curb on the side of the road or something. Yeah, everything y'all said about
you have a chest strap on?
I have one on.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called the Oh Shoot belt.
Yeah, I just got a brand new chair, and it came with one, and the guy was like, you want me to hook it up? And I've never worn a chest strap before. I keep my chair tilted back pretty significantly. I think in comparison to like some other people that other quads that keep their tilted lower. That's how I keep my center and balance. But I don't know, like it's so easy to attach and detach now. I thought about trying to use it.
Yeah, I just thought you like rolling with the gangsta lane, man. It's all good.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I've actually talked to a couple, like Andrew from Triumph, just recently started using a chest strap for driving because he fell forward like on a hill leaning forward, and I've almost had that happen to me a couple times. So that's the one thing I've been thinking about possibly adding for driving. In my chair, I feel pretty comfortable, pretty good. I have like this supernatural reaction just to like hook my my grab bars back here. Like it's just so instinctual at this point. If I start falling in any direction, I'm hooking and if I miss the hook, then I'm screwed. I'm going down. But usually I can get the hook. But in the van, I have no hook. And if I were to fall forward, like it caused Andrew to actually rear end somebody. So like I just that scares me a little bit, and like just kind of something that I don't know, something I've thought about now.
I mean, you got your normal seatbelt, but no, definitely you always got to be secure. Anyways, I'm sidetracking the conversation.
Yeah, we are side.
Shout out to a couple people in the chat. Rob, thank you so much for joining us, dude. Gretchen, really great to have you here. And I'm glad the topic is topical for you. Hey, Kit Kat, thanks for joining us. And our friend Rick and Dominic, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you joining. So to just get us back on topic, Gary, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat, dude. What's your caregiver situation like right now? How do you maintain your care? Do you have someone every day? Can you just tell us a little bit about that in your life?
Well, life is as much as organized it can be very spontaneous,
Yeah,
and it can be very consistent or very, I guess, what is the word? Cumbersome or full of adversities.
yeah, yeah,
They say you better have a plan one, right? Well,
yeah.
then they say if you have a plan B and C, you're already venturing off, right? Well, no, you always got to have a backup plan. And when you
Always
said
gotta have
about
a
that,
backup.
I ride in vehicles. I'm not currently driving and behind the driver's seat, but being a passenger, people are always stopping. You're going over bumps, and your chair's bouncing around, and having the chest strap on is actually really smart to have. I highly encourage y'all get one because you never know when you might need it, and you're like, oh well, all I have to do now is either buckle it up or have someone buckle it up, and now you have it. So having things
So
available when you need it is very important. And when we talk about caregiving, most of us, I don't know if we have, I've had family members take care of me. Right now, my brother's either my official caregiver, unofficial caregiver. He's still on the scene, and
Yeah,
we all know
so
how
is that,
much caregiving is involved, or at least
yep,
y'all two. Caregiving is the backbone of us quads.
yep,
Without them, half our day couldn't even get started, never mind ended.
yeah.
So, brushing up on the caregiving topic,
so,
it's definitely full of energy. It's an extreme topic. It changes from day to day, from one shit show to the next extreme.
so do you have
Awesome.
like a 24-hour care, or do you just have like morning, night?
Or is
Do
it
you have
mostly your
separate,
brother that you live
or is it
with?
just your brother that's there like for mornings and night? Or
More of the person in the behind scenes. He works. He has his own
Uh,
24, or he has his own 12, 9 to 5 job. And currently, what I have is I had to change up my caregiving because I used to have a roommate that would stay here and work from home, and he was in the healthcare, but he was an RN, and he was working for the insurance, so he was basically doing uh, accounts payable, receivable, and but he moved to another location, and I've always was looking and exploring other avenues to give my family respite. As much as I care about my family, I have to think of their health needs as well, their healthcare needs, and providing a respite um, care solution um, was the most selfish or selfless thing I could do. Uh, it's always about having something and someone available to help us in our most trying needs. I mean, we could all go through something in a split second and can just be stuck at mercy waiting
well,
for someone to us. So,
finding that balance is super important. I mean, like for one, my mom and dad and my brother and sister, I know my family took care of me for a long time. It was mostly my mom and dad in terms of like my medical care that did my day to day stuff. And then my brother and sister were just always around to help me with anything, and everything, whether it was getting a glass of water, if I dropped something, or, like whatever it was. And it was a big burden on them for a long time. Now, I was in my adolescence when I was injured. I was going to be living with my parents no matter what, just because I was young. But that was a big motivator in me moving out and gaining my independence, not only for, like myself and like my want for that independence and freedom, but also to take the burden and that the pressure off my parents. Not only as I got older and I got bigger, It's like more physically difficult for them to help take care of me for as long as they have. And then what the other is like they both work, and as they're getting older, like getting close to retirement and stuff, like I just felt like it would have been still a lot to have left that burden on them. Now, that being said, my mom and my dad are still my best caregivers, and they still do help me out all the time, even though I don't live at home. The times that we do travel together, or when they do come and stay, like my mom is always an instrumental part of maintaining my health. As always a backup I can rely on if something ever does fall through. Like they're just a phone call away, a couple hours away, and to be there in a split second if I were to ask. That security is, paramount to me. It gives me a lot of strength and courage and control in my care. And, no matter what, like I always have them to fall back on. But I work really, really hard to, figure out and balance that and maintain that myself now. But a lot of people still do live at home. I know, Shawn, you live at home. Well, you don't live at home, but you live with your grandma.
Yeah,
And I know you do
sure.
have outside care that comes in and helps you with a lot of your, bathroom care, bathing, and things like that. But just like when I'm there and I'm hanging out with you, and like if I drop something and grandma's right there, or Jim's right there, like I'll ask, them to help me out in a second. So I know they're a part of that balance for you too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I try to maintain somewhat of a balance. A lot of that balance is on, like, I did take a lot of my own independence on, on my own shoulders. Like, I do
Yeah,
try to do as much as I can on my own. But yeah, having people around, having family to balance and help that is so key. When I was living on my own, it was really hard. Just honestly, just meal prep was basic like the hardest thing for me. Like having to get 3 meals a day for me and then like food for my dogs as well. For like that alone became most of my day. Like caring for myself took over the entire day. So having
yeah,
help is just like it gives me time for myself. It saves me energy, and just like saves so much effort in the day. But yeah, I also bring in caregivers in the mornings for my bowel care. Like on the mornings, like today, I didn't do bowel care, so I didn't have a caregiver come in. These mornings, I'm actually able to get up, stretch on my own, get dressed, do it all on my own, and then I have my grandma help me get my shoes on. So that's pretty much I do everything until that point, and then I could
yeah,
do the shoes if I wanted to get in the couch. But again, it takes her 3 minutes. It takes me 20 if I get into the couch. It's
yeah,
just so yeah, it's just trying to save that time and energy. But yeah, when I have my caregivers, I usually have them come in for 3 hours, which is enough to do my bowel care, shower, help me get dressed, and then help me do a few other things around the room, pick up and clean things. Because I don't, again, with that balance theme, I try not to put that all on my grandma also. Like, I don't want her to have to clean up my room. I
yeah,
want the caregiver, like, she's already cleaning up enough of the house on her own. Like,
yeah,
my room, I try to have taken care of, at least my room, my bathroom, like, you know. So if I can't clean up after myself, I'm at least going to have the caregiver clean up after what we're doing in the
yeah,
mornings. So yeah, I don't know. I found a good balance. Like for me, I have two, right? I've had two caregivers for the last couple of years. One kind of off and on as she's doing nursing school. The other one just has limited time because of other clients and stuff in the area. I I'm so few of hours. I'm not one of her like top priorities, and
yeah,
that's been a problem with finding care for me. Is needing so few of hours is hard to find somebody that's willing to come in for so few of hours. Most caregivers want to have like a 6 8 hour shift or something a little longer, like for the day, and I'm giving them 2 to 3 hours. So
Well, it's such a, I think, important point. It's such an important conversation. I talk to a lot of quadriplegics, a lot of individuals with different kinds of disabilities as well, and they say it's either two, it's one category or the other. It's either like almost full time care, someone there all the time, day, most of the night, all day, all night, or it's it's too few, where it's like hard to one maintain people because it's not enough hours to make someone like feel comfortable again relying on that. It just might be a few hours a week. It's hard to attract caregivers of people to like stay long term and stay consistent when the pay isn't super significant. Um, but that is also hard, and it's like a really tough balance, and it's something that like I struggle with too. I used to have 7 day a week care because when I moved out, I thought it was important. I was just really worried about my independence level. And then over time, I just kind of pushed myself and challenged myself to be more independent, to gain more freedom. I wanted more freedom. I didn't want to have to rely on caregivers. I had lots of and still have lots of aspirations for travel and, like just living my life like not bound to outside care. Um, that again varyingly realistic in that like I have pushed the bounds of my independence, but I fail and falter a lot and struggle, in the midst of that as well. And that I gotta face reality. I'm disabled as fuck. Like I need some help. Sometimes like I can't do it all myself. Um, it's difficult getting outside care, one through my insurance, or hiring like outside people again for limited time. Like it's tough to get a person for like 1 or 2 days a week for like 3 or 4 hours, and like that be enough for somebody.
Yeah,
They'd much rather take like a full-time position somewhere because obviously it makes more sense. It's easier for them. It's not having as many clients and stuff. In any event, without rambling on too long about the complexity and the difficulty of that, it is possible. I have 2 days a week of nursing care through a home health agency, and that is paid for through my insurance. I honestly am trying to get that upped because it's nursing care. I feel like, as someone with my level of disability, it's absolutely my right to have access to that care more than what they give me. But according to my insurance, I don't. They limit that to 2 days a week because, one, I'm not disabled enough to warrant 24-hour care, but I don't know. Like I feel like I'm too disabled to not to warrant more than 2 days, um, and I'm not really sure the reasonable expectation of balancing that with like care from like a social system, which is what I do. It's like in-home supportive services here in California, which is a service that allows you to hire family members or just a provider from the community, and the state will pay them, basically minimum wage for care. So that's
it's
how
a
I
little
balance
bit
that.
more. I think it's a couple
Yeah,
dollars over minimum, but
minimum
not a
wage.
lot. Yeah, not a lot.
It's difficult to find a nurse or nursing care that will work for you for $11 an hour, which is what they pay. That's no nurse will. Even CNA care is, like average $20 plus starting, and reasonably because it's difficult work. Honestly, like that's shit pay in comparison to even what like CNAs deserve. Yeah, here we are, and that's the expectation is that you'll just be able to figure it out. And I think a lot of us do. I mean, I know a lot of us do because I do, and I know a lot of others do as well. Finding some balance or finding somebody you can, you know, give them more hours than they actually work, and that like supplements them, uh, via money and stuff. Like, there's lots of ways to play it and balance it. The point that I'm trying to make is that they make it fucking difficult. They make it really, I think, difficult to find good, reasonable care that is essential for preventing issues, for maintaining your health, for just preventative care to keep you out of the hospital. It's absolutely crazy. I So that's what I do now. Just to get back to what I was saying, I do 2 days a week of care through a home health agency, which is a RN and a CNA that comes. They'll do my bladder and bowel care, and then the CNA will help me shower and dress immediately following that care. And they're great. The nurses and my CNA have been top tier. They are the best in the biz. So I'm very lucky and fortunate to have them for the few days a week that I do. And then I had another individual CNA who I just hired through in-home supportive services that work for me in the evenings for a few days a week, mostly helping with cleaning, light meal prep, things like that. And then the rest I did on my own. And I struck a pretty, what I felt like healthy balance. And then just, as life changes and everything changes, all my caregivers had to move on for various reasons. Like my main nurse, morning caregiver, is going back to school and it's in a different state, and it's not going to just be around or be able to be reliable. And then my evening caregiver retired. She retired from her nursing job that she did outside of what the work she did for me, and is just moving on with her life. And it's like amazing and happy and positive. But it all kind of happened at the same time for me. So I was, and I have been in a position of finding new care. Big part of that was just training a new individual through the agency um, that was competent with my bowel care and my bladder care. Um, the home health agency that helps me out, they did, I feel like, the right thing. And the good thing is they helped train a new nurse before my old nurse left. They, which again, this isn't my experience with most home health agencies, but it's something I feel like you should ask for and demand, is if they are transitioning you to a new nurse, they should at least allow for one day for both nurses to be there, so the new nurse can train the old nurse can train the new one, so there's some transition of care to one, again, maintain your health and keep you comfortable and safe. Um, and then the other new hire to help me out a few days a week with showering and then just light cleaning and meal prep, I found through friends. I am very blessed to have an amazing community of disabled homies here in Southern California. And yeah, I found another caregiver who I've actually known for a long time. I was looking for, uh, again, just a couple days a week, not too much work, which fit my balance perfect. Um, it's hard, it's stressful. I feel like the only way it gets done is work, asking around, using websites
Yeah,
like care.com. Even Shawn has hired caregivers off of Craigslist in the past, which is,
I
but
use both. Like that's the before care. I used Craigslist for a lot of years, and then I've used care for a couple. But right now, because I'm looking for somebody, because the one that's been off and on for a couple years, she's gonna finish her semester, her her RN semester, yeah, second, whatever it is. But she has to get a full time job during the summer when she's off. So like my 2 days a week isn't gonna cut it. So she has to leave for a few months, and then she might be able to come back or whatever. But anyways, I put it on Craigslist this time just because I don't know. For some reason, the last two times I did care, I didn't have as good of um, just didn't. I didn't have as good as luck. For some reason on care, I've had the caregivers like looking for really high rates of pay. Like I'm talking like $30, $35 an hour and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but you're not even a registered nurse. Like you're not certified nurse. Like if I was
yeah,
paying for an RN or paying for an LVN because I needed that level of nursing, that'd be different. But I'm not. I'm trying to find, anyways, so I actually have two. I had one come yesterday and I have another one coming tomorrow. I'm kind of just trying them both out for the week and we'll see how they go. And I'm hoping that one will be a good fit at least for a while. And again,
what
it's hard. Like I have to keep placing these ads, keep like you have to keep up on like like anytime they reach out, you have to be in contact. Like and then the other thing is, I actually had a couple people in the chat here. I meant to mention getting like things stolen from them from their caregivers and things like that. So that's the other thing is you have to also vet these people. That's the one good thing about care.com is they do background checks. Like the one that's coming tomorrow sent me her background check. She had a California background check. She sent me a background check that I could verify through the California state website. Um, So that's cool, you know, like if you can go to that level, it's a lot better. But there's just so many little factors like that there's so much little work you that goes into it. It's so hard.
Yeah, y'all both touched some really good topics. I can relate to a lot of y'all's experiences. They're very dynamic, and it's constantly moving, and it's always revolving, and you're always having to you know, re. You don't know when the rug's going to get pulled out from underneath you, so you always got to be prepared. And
Well,
that's just
yeah, I mean, the thing apart about that too is like good communication and like having a good relationship with your caregiver. And that, like, I don't know, someone just commented in the chat, Gretchen, saying, "How do you guys interact with your caregivers? Do you keep it relationship, friends, professional only?" And I'd say if I can find a mix of both, absolutely. Like caregiving by nature is very intimate, and that like they're in your space. Like at least for me, I'm undressed a good part of the time because they're helping with bathing or bowel care and things like that. And that super difficult. It's a very vulnerable, tough position. I want to be comfortable with the person helping me out. One, I want them to again be professional and that they're on time and the expectations are clear and that like I'm not being taken advantage of in any way. And then the other is too is of course I want to be friendly with them. I want to have a good conversation. And if like they do want to transition or move on, it's not going to be like, hey, I'm out. Good luck finding someone. Like I want them to be like, hey, like I'm giving you 2 months, and that's like what my evening person did. It's like, hey, I got like around January, I'm gone. Like she told me, around April, she told me in January, and that gave me lots of time to prep and lots of time to think, lots of time to look. And similarly with my uh, nursing caregiver through the agency, I would say he and I became almost too close of buddies because he was calling out a lot and it was just super busy and like with his other professional stuff and his life. And like the last couple months due to his business, he would like on Monday morning, like I'd get a text me like, hey, I'm really sorry, bro, like I can't make it this morning. And I'd be like, yeah, homie. Like, no worries, man. I still have my CNA coming, and I'd still get my shower and get dressed, but I'd have to skip my bowel care and my bladder care and stuff. And I wanted to. One part of me was like, "Fuck!" Like that's not cool. Like that's tough. Like it's Monday morning. Like you're leaving me high and dry. Like last minute text, and um, I felt like maybe he felt like that was okay or cool because we are really good buddies. Like he knows that I can be pretty independent and like I do skip days in my care sometimes, but it was almost like nah, dude. Like it was happening too often where I felt like I was almost being taken advantage a little bit in that situation. And that's when I was able to communicate to him and just tell him straight up, be like, hey, like you're an awesome nurse, you're my homie. Like this has been ideal for like the last 3 years, but also at the same time, like if this is how things are gonna keep going, we gotta talk about changing up. I was like, I need someone more reliably. And he is a homie, he's still a good friend and was totally understanding and totally cool and very self-aware, like, hey, yeah, you're absolutely right, that's my bad, I haven't been taking advantage of the situation a little bit, let me talk to the agency, let me figure out how to how we can balance this either with another person or if we can find somebody who could just be there for you more reliably. And that's what we did. And I think that is the balance you want to find is someone that is professional, someone that it can be your friend or is friendly at the very least. And, you know, but I think it's super important to set those boundaries to where you're not being taken advantage because I have found myself just like, almost too much friends with
I've had that
someone.
situation before where yeah, it's gotten too little too friendly and too like too lax on everything. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And because it's
yeah.
not like I'm not paying you here to be my friend, like as much as you are my friend. Like that's not why I'm having you here. And I'm having you here because like I need help. Like I need caregiving assistance. Have you had any experience with that, Gary?
man. I hate to be so blunt about it, but man, you are hitting it like just right on the head, like ping, 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 ping.
So,
So
Thank you, man.
part of giving, I guess y'all shared pretty much most of my experiences, but for me being a guest, I might as well be more intimate and be more, you know, share it very much how it's given me independence. I've been dependent on people all my life, and I think that's a good thing because it made me be more patient and codependent on people. And that's, as you see, my handle GTB Outreach. I do a lot of community outreach. I remember when I broke my neck. It was May 14th, 2009. I was going to school, college. I was a personal trainer. We were heading home from Austin, Texas, the state capital, to my hometown, Houston. My brother, my friends, we were carpooled to go. We were all living in Austin. We came back to Houston to, spend some time with our family for Mother's Day. We were game to go. We like to go boating and do water sports, and that's what was on our mind. Uh, you know, chill out, relax, to get back to the grind of school and work. So with that, I did experience, what it was like to be, um, let's call it a healthcare project. When I broke my neck, I never knew what it was like to be in ICU. I had an awesome RN. I still talk to her today. I knew what it was like to have it was institutionalized. It was like clockwork. It was too much clockwork. Every 3 hours this, every 3 hours that, like, wow, this is too crazy for me. So when I had my independence to be able to go from ICU to in Houston, we have this thing called TIRR, TIRR, Memorial Hermann TIRR. They say they're the second or third best, uh, the institution of rehab rehabilitation research. They taught us a lot about how the life of a quad's going to be, and believe it or not, it pretty much gave us, the whole enchilada or the whole buffet of how, things are always going to be dynamic. They're going to be challenging. Things are going to change. Things are going to be great. They're going to be perfect, and then things are going to change. And it's just always readapting and just being able to be independently to care for yourself while being professional or with your caregiver, but building that unique bond. And that goes with family members too. Like you said, you have a state that helps provide care for you, and they give you, I guess, so many hours, and I guess the state allocates the quotation the going rate of what a caregiver
Well,
CNA.
they also assign you your hours too, which is a conversation I want to have after you finish your tangent. But you keep going because I'm curious about your experience.
So when I went home, I didn't want to go back to my parents' house. I'd already moved out of my. I've been living on my own for the last 5 years, but I was receptive for that. I knew who wants to be stuck in a hospital, who wants to go to a convalescent or a nursing home or a care home. That was like completely out of the. That was like the danger zone. You don't want to go there. Like, oh, okay, I don't want to go there. So I went and lived with my parents for a little bit. My parents were already in their mid 50s. They're getting ready to retire. Of course, I was a handful, a lot of energy. I'm not very introvert, but I'm more extrovert, and I'm about going out and doing experiences and living life. And I
Yeah.
wanted to gain that independence back. And as soon as I had a power wheelchair, I was off the block, and I'm down, in another neighborhood, seeing friends and everything else. The thing that challenged them is that I'm a young 20-year-old lad. This was 15 years ago, and I was still in that 20-year-old prime doing the same things that my friends did. It was basically, it gave me two options. Gary, you either figure out what you're going to do, or we're going to figure it out for you. And this was right around Memorial Weekend. And my parents said, hey, we're going out of town. We need to find a place to live because you're going to have to figure that out anyways, the way you're going. Well, luckily, I had community ties, good friends. I used to look after my friend's grandmother when he was out of state and going to school. And I was like, hey, I really need to come visit you. I'm having to deal with some things that are on my mind. Matter of fact, I need a place to sleep for the next week. She's like, oh, yeah, come on over. And with that, I had to figure out what it was like to basically, excuse me, kind of be independent in a room that wasn't really set up for a quad. Flat bed, the shower, you couldn't even get through the door. No rolling shower, it's like a tub. Back to the bed baths, you know. And with that, I
What
thought
were you doing for care in this time? I'm confused. Like, was it your friends helping you? Was it your family? Did you hire somebody? Like, how are you doing all this
right now or at that time.
at that time that you're telling me about?
Well, I had friends that were around that area because it's in the same neighborhood I grew up in. And of course, the grandmother, hey, you want some breakfast, darling? Here you go. You want
But
some
what
berry?
about
Yeah,
like
but what
your
about
actual like
what
bowel
about
care and stuff like
what about your
Okay,
bowel
like
care?
that
Like, what
stuff's
about
easy like that.
what if you
okay.
said like the bed's not accessible? Like, how? Like, did you were you transferring yourself? Were people helping you?
I actually, the family was growing. They owned a motocross track, right? And in motocross, people break their necks. A quadriplegic, paraplegic is nothing new.
Yeah, I
So,
know. We actually know quite a few who've been injured that way.
and luckily, the the cousin or the daughter or the granddaughter of the family was a nurse. So
Uh,
she came. I taught her how to do everything. Of course, she wasn't really into that care of nursing, but she
uh,
understood it. She already went through, the basic, anatomy and, all the medical courses. And, she was ready to take the
just to
challenge.
just to touch on that for a second, and for everybody listening who was like really, I think one of the keys to success with your caregiving is understanding your care routine yourself. Full stop. It's the hardest thing. It's like really difficult to learn at the beginning, but in order to give yourself some security, some freedom, I think, and it's absolutely essential when it comes to just like living life. And eventually, you're gonna have to train somebody new or help another nurse train somebody new. But being able to communicate your care, being able to
Right.
explain it to somebody is absolutely essential. So if you don't feel like you have that skill, you don't have that confidence or even the understanding, then I really think it's important to self reflect, take a look at your care routine, make sure it's like, hey, if they weren't here tomorrow, I needed to explain this to somebody, could I teach somebody else how to do it?
Yeah.
Right.
And if the answer is no, then that's okay. It's not like you got to panic and, figure this all out right now. But I would really suggest taking some time to kind of formulate that in your head on how you would communicate that to somebody if you had to do it yourself.
And communication
It's
is not
absolutely essential.
communication is so essential. Everybody
Yeah.
that's listening today or they watch this later, communication and being transparent is number one. That's how you build trust, and that's how you build a relationship. And if you can communicate with someone and you could just be open minded, most somewhat intellectual person that has some type of, you know, they will probably help you out if you just teach them. Whether they'll do it again or not, that's a different story.
So
So,
Well,
someone
the whether
find
they do
out,
it again or not is usually up to, I think, their experience. And again, I think that's on the individual too, to make sure their caregiver feels comfortable and okay. I mean, that's like one of the hardest parts. It's like having someone here, and if I'm in a bad mood, or if I'm upset, or if I'm pissed off, like it is my responsibility to keep my mouth shut, to still continue to be polite and respectful, and to make sure that they feel okay and comfortable. And like that's usually, I think, what it comes down to maintaining or keeping somebody is, if they're going to be working with you most days or even a few days a week, like, they're not going to want to be there if they're not happy, or if they're, like, don't feel comfortable, if they, feel like they're being attacked, or, if they just have to be around somebody who's in a bad mood all the time. And like, it's okay to be in a bad mood, but it's not okay to always, reflect that onto the people around you, which, again, like, I I know that's I've talked to a lot of caregivers. I know that's sometimes the experience that they've had. So then they go to somebody and it's like, oh no, like I had to stop working for that person because they were mean to me. They were in a bad mood all the time. They were rude with what they asked or what they requested. I always tried to be kind and respectful and do my job, but then they turned around and were assholes to me. And it's like fair, absolutely. Like nobody wants to work in that environment. And yeah, it's tough.
And I was
So
gonna say
I
too, just if you are in a bad mood, you're having a rough day, you're not feeling good, like it's important just to communicate that to your caregiver, whoever's helping you. Like, you know what, I'm having a rough morning. Like,
yeah,
just like that way they know, like to give you maybe a little bit extra space, to give you a little, just to not be whatever it is, like because that can help too. I mean, it's different if you're just like that every single day, if you're just a dick. But like, I mean, if it's a different thing if you are just having a rough morning and like
same
some.
with your caregiver or person who's coming in to help you too. If they're constantly in a bad mood, if they're just dealing with stress in their life that come then they bring to work, and that when they're pouring all that out to you, or they're just in a bad mood, and then that
Yeah,
affects your morning or your vibe or your
you
energy.
don't want that.
Yo, full stop. No, I don't want that, because like that vibe will mess up my day, or will set me on like a bad energy in the morning. And no, I'm not here for that. Like I like to start my day with a smile. Like if you're helping me out, you don't gotta smile. Like that's fine if you're having a hard day, but don't you know bring that bad energy and into my space and reflect it onto me. And
so it's
what'd you
all
say?
I said he said MySpace. It's all about having positive vibes. Exactly. And I kind of came up with this I'm a professional patient
Yeah,
practicing having patience for others. So I reflipped the script. Okay, I'm a professional patient and I'm practicing patience of others.
yeah.
It's good.
And I think that's a big part of the quad life is patience, patience, patience. I mean, I feel fortunate in that I've had my whole life to learn this skill. And I don't know, like I've told these stories on the show before, but like my mom in particular, like when we both be in a bad mood and be having a hard day, or like both woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and then she'd have to help me with my care. 5 o'clock in the morning, we both get up and trying to do it. Like there have been times where I was the opposite example of the way like a patient should be with like their caregiver. And I felt like maybe it was okay because it was my mom. It's like, oh, she's not going to abandon me. But and similar like with her, sometimes like we both would get so mad or upset or just be in such a bad mood that it would be hard. And we both had to learn, nope, gotta be patient. If like mom is too tired or having a hard time, dad can step in. If I'm in a bad mood or don't have any patience, or if I'm uncomfortable and just being a dick, like I need to just shut my mouth instead of saying those mean, hurtful things. And just like deal with it. If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Period.
So,
And it's hard. It's so hard to be patient with other people, especially when you're depending on them for your care, and then they're just human too. They're late. Something comes up. Whatever. Like they do perfectly normal, natural things, but it affects you so personally. It's so personal because it is your personal care. It's so fucking hard that it's just tough. But that's when it's really important to know. It's like, okay, like everyone's human. Like here's where I have to be patient. Here's where I have to understand. Again, if it's too much and you're being taken advantage of and stuff, that's a different story. And it's okay to the patients can stop, and it's like, all right, um, different measure needs to be taken. I gotta change this up. I gotta fix it. I gotta get this care right. Whatever that might mean. But um, learning that patient skill will get you really far. Like learning to not take things so personally, like understanding that everybody's human, especially your caregivers and your family members and, the people and the friends in your life that help you out. Absolutely. And, extending that courtesy always. And I always try to. And, it's something that was learned over many years of, no patience. And sometimes I still fail, and like that's okay. But I never take it out on my caregivers, never take it out on my people. If I got to vent, I'll vent to somebody that's, not related to the care in any way, and it's just like I'll vent, but I always full stop try to ensure that I'm patient and respectful to my people that are helping me out, because in turn, like, they'll be patient and respectful with me. And, I think it's just how it's got to work.
Amen, brother. So before I chimed on today, I saw Shawn's post about uh, caregiving, getting new caregivers, losing caregivers, getting caregivers while traveling, and just trying to find that balance. Well, this past week, I did an experiment. I've been on airplanes before. I've traveled before. I actually went to a friend's house in Las Vegas. We hung
Let's
out before
go.
last time. Yeah, Las Vegas is a crazy town to be just rolling around like home alone, just in the middle
The
of
best
nowhere.
town to be just rolling around. Let's go.
Well, before I went there, I had already had care.com. I've already been a subscriber on there, and I've been running ads. The beginning of this year, in January, I knew that there was going to be a transition. Uh, like I said, my brother is my caregiver. I do live at my own home. We're roommates. He has his side of the house. I have mine, but he works crazy
Yeah.
hours. And I knew that I needed to be prepared for when he goes back to work, because he was off work for a few months. So he was home, and it was like everything. It was kind of like, when is this change going to happen? Well, I hired a caregiver. It took me about 5 or 6 interviews. Those interviews got better and better and better, and I got wiser
Yep.
and wiser. At the care.com, I'd put on, something, a whole drawn out story who I was, and then I tried just, keeping it really simple.
Yep.
I brought one lady in, I'm open for male or female, but I brought one lady in. She felt like she was in my price range, 12 to $15, even though it's really out of the price range budget for a caregiver. I know that, well, they might allocate me 8 hours a day. Well, really, I only need 4. So if I gave them, if the state's only paying $10, that means if I did 2 for one, $20, I'm still in the win, as long as we got the
That's
tax done.
that's exactly how I do it
That's
too,
what a lot
Gary.
of
It's
people
like,
do. That's exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
And don't tell the people that you're doing that. By the way, like, they're there
This is
working
all
all the
allegedly.
hours. That's
If there's anybody
kind of
from
how I
IHSS
always
around
like
here.
try to supplement my HSS people. It's like, hey, like, you'll be getting, in 20 plus, but, I'll just give you twice the hours for half the work. But, everything, it's not like I'm getting shortchanged either, because, I get what I need done. So
right, and that's
anyway,
all they
sorry to
care.
keep talking.
Your needs are met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I interviewed one. This is in January, right? January, one lady, she was very qualified, if not overqualified. She happened to just move into town. She needed something to get going, right? Well, she found
Yeah.
her real gig. So she came by once. We kind of explained how we did things, but never really did the act, right?
Yeah.
She says, "Well, hey, honey, I can't come back, but I wish you well." And I was like, "Well, I understand. I wish you well too, but let's not lose touch, because you never know how we can impact each other later on in life." Well, and then I interviewed someone else. Well, she's a lot younger person. I was like, I don't know, but she was relatively available, and that worked out for a little bit. But then I don't know, something just kind of changed. Then I interviewed the next one. I was like, you know what? I'm almost running out of patience. So this is going to be a full blown out experience. You're either going to make it or you're not. You're going to come back or you're not. So we
Yeah.
did. I was like, it's going to be a paid caregiving act. I'm going to give you the rate you want, and we're going to do everything. I'm going to run you to your most chaotic, balls to the wall crazy, and see how much stress you can really handle. And they're like, man, Gary, why did you do that to her? She's never coming back. I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, guess what? She came back. And then the
There
next
you go.
day, I'm easier on her. And the next day, I let her easier on her. Third day, I didn't even pay attention to her. I was just like in my room, I'm working, and everything's getting done. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. And she was a single, well, she was a mother of 3 kids. She's married. Her husband worked out of town, and the caregiver before me, she had a husband. He would drop her off, and I thought, man, I wonder if he thinks he's maybe he's getting a little insecure. Like, this is professional. Come on now. And what I found was that, I kept it very transparent, professional. Yes, they're both been cute, and yeah, nah. I have my own girlfriend. I don't need a date a caregiver. It's not what I'm looking for. It's about being a professional, being balanced, getting the job done, and then if there's times to have a little sense of humor, cut up here and there. I basically showed no interest whatsoever, cut dry, black and white, and then I started letting up. I didn't want to think I'm just a total dick like Shawn would have been, you know. But I'm just kidding, bro. You're a good guy, man. And the whole time, I just got back out of a trip. I went to Las Vegas. And I went to go do an experience. Right now, I'm working on driving again. I've been having people drive me around town for the last 15 years of my life. It sucks. I get, I got to play. My caregiver's going to come here. I got to account for him being late. Then I got to account for being late. Then I got to have my appointment. And you don't want to be late for your actual appointment because now you're not accountable. And if you want to be held accountable, so now I'm playing this window of opportunity. Is it the time, or the time I want you to be? You know what I'm saying? That little time gap, it's like
Yeah,
a head game. Do you agree?
yeah.
Especially if you got to be somewhere like an appointment for a doctor or a business meeting, Shawn. You know, those things are like a little challenging, especially when we're trying to grow and become more independent and being more prosperous in our our careers. And what I found was that the way I did that experiment on caregiver number three, it taught me knowing I could do this. I was supposed to cancel my trip, not go to Vegas. It's not like I was going to Vegas to gamble and go, act like a 21-year-old. We're having the fun of our life. I went down there to create a relationship, go do an experience, go do something I really wanted to do. We went from knowing that I was going to bring a caregiver, like one of my buddies that knows how to take care of me, but they were like, oh, well, it's a paid trip. They're going to get their flight, they're going to get there, they're going to take care of me. I'll take care of them. They'll go on about their life. Well, that person couldn't show up. And then I asked someone else, they couldn't show up. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wing it and go. I told my friend, I was like, look, I really don't want to go. I just had a kidney stone removed, bladder stone. I should be staying home. He goes, what's really stopping you? I was like, honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to go out there and stuff's going to go sour. Because in my home life, where things are comfortable, things can go sour. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and do this because I want to travel more places. I don't want to be stuck saying, hey, I can't go somewhere because,
So
well, the
how did
character
it go?
thought I had was going to go with me said they could. And you built your whole itinerary knowing that that person was in your back pocket because you had trusted them and y'all already planned this out. This is
Yeah.
life, guys. It's constantly changing. It's constant adversity. I'm
How
about
did
to
it
go into
go?
more about this while we're still staying on track, because I know there's a lot to share because I'm so excited about my trip that I just got back. This experience I had was just as much of an experience for myself as for the my friends that had me as a guest. And he met me once. Him and his girlfriend did, and I was like, "Look, I need a caregiver, bro. Like, this is Vegas. Like, you can pretty much get anything you want out there." I was like, "I just need a caregiver. I need someone to wash me. I have a bowel program. I have urine. I mean, hopefully they're not, worried about body fluids. Um, I was like, feeding and all that. It's okay." So I was like, "Man, I know I can go do a bowel every other day, or I could stretch it to 36 hours, 40 hours. We are really cutting it." Well, we had someone come out, took care of me. Um, she was a mother, so most motherly people know how to take care of another human being. She was about 50. She was just seemed like we hit it right off on the phone. I was like, all right, she can handle this. She asked me questions. I asked her.
Where did you find her? Care.com?
Well, the person that was out there, my friend founded her for me. I think it was one
Okay.
of her old girlfriends in the past. Like, look, my buddy's coming to
Yeah.
town. Can you come back? Get them dressed. I mean, come on, you act like you never seen a guy naked before. My friend's 48 years old. I'm 30, 37. So she's like, cool. And she showed up at 2 o'clock in the morning because before I left, right? I did my bowel with my own caregiver at home. I didn't even have a bowel. I was like, oh, I already see where this is going. My
Yeah,
plane's
I've been
leaving.
there.
I even took a number two before I left, and I was like, I had this because you schedule things. Things don't always go on schedules. Your body doesn't always go as planned. And I was all packed, ready to go. My friends were going to bring me to the airport. Were trying to make me almost stay home. They were pretty much putting me in roadblocks, and I came over all these little adversities, and I'm proud of myself for that. It was a big thing for me because I'm an extremist. I'm an opportunist. I want to do things. I want to move on. I want to be able to do other things. And this one little trip taught me so much about myself. I'm ready to leave the United States and go do something in a third world country now. And that's going to be a scary eye opener.
And if you
It
do
might
plan to
be
do something like that, you just gonna try to hire care while you're there, like you did for this?
Well, what I found is so the care.com is like a dating app. It's a matchmaker. You got to build rapport. You got to make sure how you set the tone right. Just because you need care today don't mean that person's going to drop what they're doing and going to be there tomorrow. They got their own lives. They
well,
got their own.
someone
So,
in the chat just asked that same question, like difficult question. How do you interview a caregiver? What do you need to ask and so forth? And I would say, I don't know, like I don't, I want to look at it like a dating app personally. I mean, you do need to like build rapport, like there does need to be, but also it's just like what you said, Gary, like when you hire that person, you like put her through the ringer that day. I'm just gonna set my expectations, like here's the extreme of what my care might be, or might have an accident at the very least. Like here's the expectation for the bowel care, here's the expectation for the bladder care, here's the expectation for the bathing, and anything else. And like it's all laid out. Like I'm gonna make sure like there's no if, ands, or buts, or no misunderstanding when it comes to like what my expectations are. And I think that's really how you do it. Of course, you got to ask some questions. You just like what Gary said, you do need to build some rapport. I think it's really important to understand their situation, their lives, whether or not they, have other responsibilities that might interfere with their work or stuff, just so you can get the vibe and get the feeling, and also, like understand and be respectful of their situation, but also like, yo, these are the expectations. This is, what I need to do. And yeah, that's how it's going to be.
right.
Um,
That's
when
what
Shawn
I
and
feel like
I,
I found that there was a time earlier where I would kind of like when I would try to ease them into it more, like not
Right.
giving them like everything maybe the first day or so. But I actually have kind of now found that it's better just to give them everything the first like right away. If they can't handle it, then they can't handle it. Like
and that's Mike just said it in the chat. I
like
usually it's like one of the first questions I'll ask is like, "Are you comfortable with bladder and bowel care, or do you have any experience with it?" The answer is either me, yes, I have experience with it, I'm okay with it, or it's very, I've also been like, no, I don't have any experience with it, but I'm okay learning. Or it's gonna be,
that's I
no, I don't
yeah.
do that. That's not my vibe. I don't do that kind of care. Perfectly fine. The expectations are clear, everything's set, and even if they're okay learning, it still might be a little overwhelming for them. It might be too much, and not might be they expected they could do it, but it turns out, it's not the kind of care they're comfortable with or okay with, because it's tough care sometimes, and that's okay too. And but just setting the expectations, asking the right questions being, do you have experience with this? Are you okay with this? Like also just be honest, like, hey, just trying to live life, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay comfortable, trying to stay as independent as I possibly can. You guys are a part of that independence, and that like you being here, doing what you need to do, like on time, like what we both expect, you know, that's going to enable me to be healthier, more independent, more functional, and like as long as you pay them on time and take care of them and treat them with respect, I think very often it's like just super achievable. It vibes, it works, and it clicks good. Dealing with the nuances of human relationships and stuff. We were talking about a little bit earlier, like what if uh, significant other being your caregiver. A lot of people do that. I know personally for me, I never hesitate to, you know, step in as a caregiver for my significant other because, you know, I love her and, you know, like, hey, I always take care of my people, you know, full stop, because that's just who I am. But would I want that burden full time? Um, not, I mean, if it came down to taking it on, sure, but no. Nor is that a role I can really hold. You know, my current situation, no, probably not. You know, um,
Well,
but
yeah.
I, you know, at the same time, like balance, communication, understanding. You know, I think if you are in a relationship with somebody and you know they help you out sometimes or they help you out with certain things, like cool. You know, of course, your significant other is gonna help you out in life because they are that for you. You know, your significant other, y'all might live together, you know, like spend a lot of your time together. Like, of course, you guys are gonna help each other, you know, like that's it. But expecting that burden to be put on somebody 365, 7 days a week, all the time, every year, nah, that's
Like
tough.
even
I don't think that.
Mikey in our chat mentioned like his wife is his full time caregiver, but he actually does his own bowel care pretty much on he said by himself to not burden her with that part of it. Um,
Yeah,
so you know, like that's what it's like that balance. You just take a little bit away. You know, you do, it is hard to put everything on somebody, especially when they're your significant other. To put your entire care on that person is just, I think it's a lot.
I did.
So
I got
if you can't independently do stuff, you should maybe hire somebody to come in at least small amounts of time to to
absolutely.
give that person a break.
not
Sorry, what were
just
you
help
saying,
you out, but
Gary?
help you both out, you know, like because just the burden of you know, cleaning or, you know, certain like difficult tasks for somebody in a chair, you know, like might get shifted onto, you know, like the person living with you, you know, your significant other or whatever, you know, just like figuring out how to help out in those roles, you know, by like, you know, having your caregiver help out with some of that stuff. Absolutely.
So back to my experience. Um, my care.com person didn't start chiming in until after the third day I was there. The first day I was there, the person came over at 2 in the morning. I felt uncomfortable in my friend's house knowing I'm about to probably shit all over his bed or his guest
Yeah.
bedroom. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, this ain't. And he's like, Gary, what's wrong? He's up. I'm like, man, I didn't go earlier. I done been transferred all over the place. My body's been moved every which direction from going through aisle seats, in and out of wheelchairs, in and out of cabs, picked up, moved. I'm like, something's gonna probably blow loose later. So I had the friend of the friend that came over, and we said, hey, this is what I need done. I need a shower, and matter of fact, I need to have a bowel. I cannot go another day without it. Otherwise, it's just gonna come out on its own. It's not gonna work for me. And with that being said, I was pretty transparent with her, and she came over and she took care of it. And it made my confidence and my relief is so much better knowing, hey, that one um, that one activity that can either make or break your day. I mean, we've all had times that are just not go as pleased. And once I got past that, it made everybody else in the house comfortable knowing Gary was here and he's going to be here for 7 days. And not to mention, that wasn't the real spot we were going. I got there, that was just the spot before I went to the real destination. We had to drive all the way to Lake Havasu. Well, before I even drove to Lake Havasu, we were worried about how we are going to get my chair around. I have a 400-pound chair. Well, before I even went out there, my friend had a truck, and I said, "Hey, let's get this little carrier lift and put it on the back of the truck so you can roll the chair up." So I bought it and was out there, about a month early. We get to the airport, the chair wouldn't even go up it. The ramp was too steep, so we had like
Yeah.
people trying to lift this chair out. I was like, "Nah." I had to call a guy off the side of the road. He was waiting for his ride. He's like, "Hey, can you help these guys out? They need another two arms. Their four ain't working." And they put it on there, and I'm like, "Man, this is gonna be rough." So when I got back to the house, I'm thinking, how am I going to go to Arizona that's 2 hours away and they can't even put my chair on there? I'm not going to want to run around town, someone pushing me in a chair like I'm a stroller. I'm not used to that. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to roll around and be able to mix and mingle. Part of my chair is part of my personality. I can, don't have to, feel like I can't take care of my own, especially when I'm out trying to enjoy myself. And with that being said, is I came down to the point I needed to rent a van to drive down here. Otherwise, their trip was going to suck. They're going to be able to have to lift this chair up every time we had to go somewhere. I mean, I was going to throw someone's back out. That wasn't fair. They opened their hospitality to take care of me and give me, I guess, a vacation from my reality. I mean, I thought,
That's always kind of one of my worries too, is like kind of becoming a burden on like the other people that are helping me out. It's like damn, like shit, like my me being here, like my chair being here, like just the logistics of navigating that in like a space that I'm not usually in. Like it can be super difficult, like you said, whether or not you had to rent a van or just like hurt somebody while they're trying to fucking get your chair on a ramp and stuff. And it's like it really bothers me and it irks me. Like I would have to have a little bit more planning. Like you going into this trip the way that you did, like, nah, bruh, I need a little bit more planning to be confident and secure.
well, we made it to Havasu. We were supposed to take the person that, let's say the lady that came over and took care of my first burden or
Um,
my first. She was supposed to come with us. She didn't. My friend called up two other ladies. They just happened to be ladies. I'm with my boys. I was like, look, man, I
yeah,
really don't want y'all to have to do this for me, but it's going to happen one way or the other. Let's try to figure out how
yeah,
we're going to navigate.
yeah.
And, of course, one of the friends was, doing all the heavy lifting and, draining the catheter and this or that. We were supposed to have two other people came in. We rented a house, an Airbnb. By the way, pictures can be deceiving on Airbnb. We picked it
Never
at the
trust
last.
Airbnb to be accessible because it's all lies.
Right. I had to like figure out which room I'm going to be sleeping in. I thought about transfers the whole time. I was like, well, my chair raises up and down. Let me get the higher bed. The one that's not going to tear up all the walls trying to go in and out of. Oh, well, if I don't have my own bathroom, I don't care. I can, just throw me in the pool later. I can take a bath that way, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
And what
shit. I'll take a swim in a lake, get me clean.
I was gonna
I
say you were
thought
at
like,
Havasu, right? Yeah, go in the lake, bro. Get a little.
well,
So,
actually,
the suspense is killing me, Gary. Where is it just your boys helping you out, or did you have somebody come through?
so my boys were helping me out. I thought like my trip, I got back here today, like Tuesday. I told my boys I got to go back Saturday. I don't think I'm going to be able to go on without this bowel thing working out.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, and I did do the care.com and I found a few on there. I mean, you look at where I'm from, you look at my phone number, people are, kind of skeptical, how do you weigh this out? And I'm
It's
thinking
not
how,
it's not something to do on short notice, people. Like Gary's a
right.
madman for trying to like do it while he's at Lake Havasu. And I'm not saying that offensively, like it takes some brass balls, I think, to, put yourself in that situation and, to like kind of accept what comes. But if like reasonably, if you do want to find somebody for traveling, Shawn and I did it with care.com when we were in Houston and had two awesome people come and help us out the days that we needed to there. But that was done weeks and weeks in advance. And that's what
And
it really comes down to is preparation. Like talk to your people, interview, have it all laid out, do the Skype calls, talk to the people and make sure that it's done. I mean, you could like just freestyle it, like, go and try to figure it out. But it's just like what Gary's saying
It's
is
not recommended.
it's so much stress. It can be really hard. It can be so stressful thinking you're gonna shit yourself. You're gonna have an issue. You're gonna, like have a problem that you're gonna need to ask people you're maybe not super comfortable with helping you out with that stuff. And it's just a tough situation to be in.
I mean, I knew at the last bit, well, just take me to the emergency room. We'll get it done real quick.
That's. I guess if
They're
it's in
like,
a worst case scenario, yeah. If it really does come down to it, I guess that is
Yeah,
last
let's see.
resort.
That's the last. That
to
let's see.
make
I
it
would
all,
never want to do something like that on a vacation. I mean, it would ruin it for me. Like I wouldn't want to go again, probably.
and to
Yeah,
make it
You know.
no, that would.
story up, I have someone that I did meet out there, and they happen to be in healthcare, and I explained to him what I was dealing with, and it was part of us getting to know each other. I was like, look, I actually need some help. Can you do this or can you not? Or if not, do you know someone that could help me? I was like, I have money. I know it's a job. It's a gig for, for an event. By the way, I was volunteering at this event. I'm paying to go to an experience, to go volunteer in another city's uh, event that actually raises money for charity for people with disabilities.
Yeah,
That's what it's about.
yeah.
So I was like, with this, I asked them, can you volunteer for the event? Or were they interested? And they said, yeah, yeah, maybe so. I was like, well, can you volunteer and help me physically in this event so I can make this event more impactful for myself and the community? And she says, how can I do that? I was like, honestly, my caregiver bailed on me. I'm out here for the next 5 days and I don't want to be winging it. I had my plan together and I had things together. And guess what? One thing fell off. I was like, all right, go back to the drawing board. What's plan B? That one fell. All right, what's plan C? Well, plan C was I was going to meet someone out there and someone was going to take care of me as a friend or as a professional or whatever. Because that's what we do. We got to take care of ourselves. We know we have our own routine and we got to respect that. Our body is our temple. You can only
Well,
go
also,
so far
if you go 5 days without your care, like it could put yourself in a dangerous situation.
and you don't want to do that. And I was running close to those boundaries, but I knew my grace period. And how I handled it was so wonderful. I actually gave a speech and I met the mayor's assistant. And I explained to him why I came out here. I was racing for a cause. The reason I went out there, I wanted to go race a friend's speedboat and use a throttle. Everybody thinks I cannot drive again because I can't use my hands. Or I can use my hands, but they're all knuckles up. People don't think people with these hands can't. People could drive a vehicle with sip and blow and using your head. You don't need to use hand controls. With on a steering wheel, you can use a joystick. Some people don't know that, so they always think, well, what about if you get in a wreck, or what about if you're stranded? Well, what about all these what ifs? Well, what about if I never tried any of these what ifs? I would never know anyways. It would still be a failure. And now there's a word. It's called fineo. Failure is not an option. It's an acronym.
Yeah.
Not trying to overcome these challenges, you're not growing. You're not moving forward. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, guys, everybody on this call, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're a patient, you're a quad, a pair, God wouldn't put you in this situation if He knew you couldn't handle this. Otherwise, He would have chosen someone else different.
Yeah.
I was in a car
I
wreck.
mean,
Every
if you believe in that.
I was in should have been dead. And guess what? Why was I the only one left in the back seat with a broken neck and a quad the rest of his life? Because I was the
Well,
chosen one.
I think everybody, regardless of what they believe or regardless of their situation, has a strength inside themselves to, overcome disability and, figure out this life. Absolutely, full stop. Regardless of who you are, your background, what you believe in. I think everybody has it within themselves because we're all human. I think you're incredibly brave, Gary. I had a very similar experience this last summer where I met you in Houston, which was the first time I did what you did. I hopped on a plane with my boys, with Shawn and Cage, and we, went to a city a different state, a different city, somewhere I wasn't familiar. We had no car, we had no nothing. We were doing taxis, we were doing Ubers, we were trying to figure it out. We were having crazy taxi drivers, not wanting to take us and stuff.
What an
And
adventure!
most of all,
You
huh?
enjoyed it. It was an adventure. You
Well,
enjoyed it.
well, the craziest part was just what you were talking about is my care. Shawn, yo, dude, thank goodness I had the Jedi Master Shawn Fluke with me because I was the Padawan learner and he was teaching me, like as I was going because he has all this experience doing this kind of thing. And without Shawn, I don't know that I could have done it because he did really set it up. He did coordinate the care. I was doing my care, a couple of the days I did like the second day I was there, I didn't have anybody. I had an accident. I had to change. I had to clean myself up. I had to do it all in a hotel room in a bed I could barely transfer to. I had to, with like no backup, no, nobody, no backup plan, no nothing. And it was crazy. And it was defining experience in my life because one, I succeeded like you did, Gary. It changed my life. It redefined the expectations that I had for myself and what I could do in terms of my travel, my care, planning, coordinating, and then just what you said too, kind of like learning under fire. Like, like I was there, like failure is not an option. There's no other choice except for to do and to move forward. There's no sitting and complaining and like woe is me because you're all you got. And I had Shawn and I had Cage, and like we did have our literal fam there, but it was very vulnerable, different situation than I'd ever been in before in my whole life. And I succeeded. I made it to the other side, and I came out positive, and I learned a lot, but I also like gained a lot of confidence in like potentially doing this in the future. And I did do some more independent traveling like later that year with my girlfriend in Phoenix and stuff. And that was also like super defining for me, in that like we were successful and supporting each other and like figuring out everything. So it's a really great story, dude. Super important. Shawn has like shared a lot with his travel experience and stuff, but yeah, I argue to say that traveling, coordinating care, traveling and stuff. One, the financial burden is immense. Traveling with somebody, like the expectation of the caregiver generally, unless they're like a family member or friend that like wants to go anyways, it's like it's a trip they're not planning on going to, so you got to pay for their trip. You got to pay for the hotel, you got to pay for the travel and stuff. Like one that can be insurmountable and it can be tough. So that leaves the other option of trying to coordinate your care with a stranger, at the destination you're going to, and that in itself, for I think a lot of people, is really tough to mentally overcome. Is showing up, having a complete stranger come into a space you're not familiar with, do that kind of level of intimate care where they're helping you out with your bowel care and shower and your undressing and stuff. It's oof, man, like still just thinking about it, it can be mentally overwhelming for me,
Yeah,
and I feel
you
like
know,
I can't have the skin
I
for
think
it.
sure, man. That's why I thought this was going to be a good topic for me to come on and speak
Yeah,
on. I know I can go on to more. There's going to be more details. This is, a short show, not about my trip. It's just what, how it defined my most overcoming challenges that I knew I was going to face. Because I've already done these trips before with my boys, and it was already kind of a wing it shit show. They still got me. I still wanted a caregiver that wanted to do it, not put the reliance on my buddies. Of
yeah.
course, they weren't gonna let me fail. They're not gonna let me die. They're not gonna let me. I'm like, dude, if it really comes down to it, someone's gonna have to do this, and y'all gonna be rolling the dice who's winning. Because I think I paid for the trip just so I
Draw
could go. Y'all,
straws, bro. Who gets the
yeah,
who draws the
straws, man.
short straw?
Yeah, I'll go ahead
Who's
and
got to
get
put their
mine.
finger in your butt?
What it is, it just sucks that we have to do this to survive, but at least we're surviving and thriving. And
Well,
I'm
hopefully
thankful.
we're thriving and surviving. Like
See,
I do hesitate to say that, like this will be a positive experience for everyone if you decide to take the plunge. I mean, Gary said it. Like part of it is like overcoming the obstacles that present themselves as they do, and they can be varied and very different. I think. And I mean, what do you do if the person is you're not comfortable with it? You gotta send them away. You're not cool with your care, and you're stuck scrambling last minute and stuff like. I mean, I hope always the universe will provide, but sometimes the universe can be cold, you know,
Right.
difficult, not so understanding, factor in all of this. So, um, you know, overcoming yourself, it's hard. It can be really hard, and I mean, I'm hoping that every experience I have will be positive in the future, but I'm also kind of fearful that it won't be, and I don't want to set the unreasonable expectation for anybody that it's all going to be work out and be sunshine and flowers, because it very well might not. Just like how Gary said, like the first person bailed and stuff, and it came down to like trying to find somebody last minute, like that's hard. And I
Yeah,
don't know, like
I had was for Drive for Independence. That was my hashtag before this trip even came up with, and I stood
Yeah.
by the hashtag. I was like, that hashtag for me or my memory or my experience is going to go a lot further in life for the things that I want to do. I do a thing called sociable outreach. Part of my story is I was blessed to be here. I have a good home life. I've been threatened to be put in a nursing home. You don't want to go there, especially when you're 20, 30 years old. That's someone 70, 80 years old that has dementia or, just cannot take care of themselves or need that type of 20.
Nursing facilities can be a great place. They are not a place for a quadriplegic, not a social young adult, even just adult, not young adult. Like they are 24-hour care facilities where the expectation is you kind of stay at the facility and don't live your life. And well, that might be suitable and like the best location for some people in some situations. I think any quadriplegic that you said it, Gary, that threat of being thrown into a nursing facility, that's exactly what it is. It's a fucking threat.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it is like threatening to
It
your
can
life because
legitimately be a death
it,
sentence, man.
it can be a death sentence. It can debilitate you. It could, keep get you
And about it.
bedbound. It could be so bad. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for phrasing it that way because deny that and fight that with everything you guys got. Don't let anybody tell you that's where you belong for sure.
That's for sure, man. I mean, I have some friends out here in my side of town that I advocate for. I took the skills and the resources that I found, and I, put them in a little notepad, and I'm always trying to help network and give people resources because if it wasn't the resources they gave to me, I probably wouldn't even be here 15 years later doing what I'm doing. I'd probably be more of a, you know, homebody and
So
not going out there trying to live an adventurous lifestyle. I've done more things in a wheelchair than I've ever done before. I've traveled
Yeah.
more places
so
out of airplanes. I want to go scuba diving. I've traveled, from
Gary,
I'm
one
gonna
place
you
to
gotta
another.
I'm
start
actually gonna
diving
use
further
I'm gonna
out.
use this right now to transition real quick because I've been wanting to throw it in there, and Dominic mentioned it before. This weekend is Triumph Foundation's Sports Festival, and like what you do out there, the outreach, that's what we do with Triumph in Southern California. There's people like that do this all over the country. So if you are in an area, just try to look out for something like that. But this weekend, if you're in Southern California, in Santa Clarita, Saturday and Sunday, the 29th and the 30th, the Triumph Foundation is putting on a sports festival. It's completely free. Scuba diving is actually there. You can try rugby, basketball. We have over the line baseball, hand cycling.
Wheelchair
The
MX, you
Rollettes
can
dance
do.
group will be there. Live to Roll will be there. So
Yeah, it's
Only
free uh,
break for
to sign up
is out.
and come out if you guys are fortunate enough to be in the beautiful Southern California area this weekend. Highly recommend it. It's been a life changing experience for me many a time, and I'm super looking forward to this weekend as well.
I wish I could come out
yeah,
there, man. I should have saved my trip and planned it out a little better. I'd be in
Dude,
y'all's.
Garrett, you're speedboating in Havasu after going to Vegas. That
yeah,
sounds like a great trip to me. But we'll definitely have to work that out. If anybody's interested in scuba diving, there is an international organization. I think they're nationally based, but they travel to very tropical locales to go scuba
yeah. They go
diving.
all
It's
over.
called Dive Heart. Dive Heart. If you just Google that, you could reach out to them on their website, and they will find you a local adaptive scuba program, or they'll fly you out to a location where you can dive and get some experience. I had the amazing opportunity to scuba dive a few years ago, and yeah, it was trippy breathing underwater. But I'll tell you what, it felt really cool as a quadriplegic to kind of be fully buoyant and in a little bit more control of my body, like floating in that space. It was super unique, and I'd love to do it in the ocean someday.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. We had Austin
Ken, you
on
gotta
that
come
does some of
out.
the. Yeah, you should come down, Ken. There's if you want to come down. I mean, I know it's kind of far for you. You have to probably it's a heck of a drive, but hey, there I'll be staying up there for at least Saturday night. I'll be up there, so I can let you know hotel info if you want, man.
I mean, shit, I got a queen size air mattress. You can camp out on my apartment floor.
uh, but
um, but
yeah,
in any event, we're super excited for this weekend. It's going to be really cool.
And
One last,
also, thank you. I just want to also
go
real
ahead.
quick thank. I just noticed in the chat again. Uh, Weaver63 gave us a $10 super chat at the beginning of the show. Thank you. I didn't acknowledge that earlier, and I apologize. I'm sorry. I just remembered and went back and found it. So, sorry. Go
We
ahead,
really
Tom.
appreciate the love. Shout out to everybody in the chat who's been with us. I know
Yeah.
Tony and Daryl, it's the first time I've seen you guys in the chat. I really appreciate you joining. Welcome to the Literal Fam, just like Grandma said. And everybody in the chat who's been talking about their caregiving experience, about their experience with the IHSS. Kit Kat in the chat helping out with all that amazing info. Just want to say thank you, everybody. We love the Literal family so much, and you guys make it what it is. And really appreciate you sharing all your experiences and all that information in the chat as well, because it's super valuable and it helps us out. So thank you.
And while we're thanking, I just want to real quick get this in there too because
Let's
we
do it.
didn't earlier. We want to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. And actually, even in the chat, I think it was actually Kelly, How I Roll, said that he just called urology professionals about some catheters and they hooked him up. Within 24 hours, Danielle had him hooked up. So I was trying to find
No,
that
we
back in
love
the
you. We
chat.
love you, Kelly. How I roll, man. You are the best. Our Alaskan quad friend. You're awesome, dude.
Yeah, we appreciate you supporting our sponsors because they support us. So thank you, man. I can't. I don't know if I can find that in the chat anymore, but I
After
do.
this sponsor, I want to bring out something that Kelly brought up earlier. So finish it up, and we'll talk just for another minute about some caregiving stuff.
Yeah. So we'll real quick. I'll just finish thanking the sponsors. Mobility Professionals is a mobility specialist here in Southern California. So if you are looking for any type of wheelchair, commode, standing frame, anything like that, they can hook you up. They have all the stuff. They have all the great customer service. They work with most insurances. So give them a call. They can take care of almost everything for you. And they're awesome people. They are really, really cool people. They'll be at the festival. They donate and support. They're actually going to be doing a wheelchair repair booth at the festival. So, like repairing people's chairs for free, any little minor repairs and stuff. And then also, Urology Professionals is their sister company. They're nationwide. So, if you need catheter supplies anywhere in the country, they can hook you up. And that's what I found the comment right there, actually. Boom. I'll put it up in a second. But yeah, anywhere in the country, they can hook you up if you need catheters. And that's something nobody should be wanting for, needing for. If you're having any issues getting catheters, if you're not getting enough for the month, give them a call. They have honestly great people, and they'll take care of a lot of it for you. They'll get on the phones and they'll go to bat for you with
And
insurance
you'll
and
get
try to get you
extra
some more.
love and treatment if you let them know the Literal sent you. I'm just kidding. They're not biased. They will give you the same quality of service regardless. But if you do mention it, we appreciate it because that way they
And
know that the Literal fam's showing them some love.
yeah, see, Kelly said that they shipped him out his order in less than 24 hours from when he talked to Danielle. So that's just yeah,
Um,
they're awesome people.
Kelly had a comment earlier in the chat. I can't scroll back and find it right now, but the discussion was in regards to in-home supportive services. We talked a little bit about that program earlier, but just to kind of give a little context, it's a state-run service that helps provide care. It's a social service. It's at least funded by the state of California. I know there are many similar programs elsewhere. This is the one that exists here in California. And like I mentioned earlier, they assign you your hours. So the way that you receive these services is first you sign up, you prove your disability through a doctor's note, whatever verification they require. It's not nothing more than usually a doctor's note stating that you're not making it up. And then they come out to interview you, and they assign you a number of hours that you are allowed for. Now, the common MO here in at least for IHSS is to lie your ass off, to not show them how truly independent you are,
And it's
because they are very conservative with the number of hours that they're willing to assign. Now, that being said, if you pretend to be bedbound, or if you are bedbound, if that is your reality, regardless, um, I mean, some individuals get assigned the maximum number of hours. kind of claim to have no independence and you're fully dependent. And then you can hopefully get a decent number of hours. I know that I hope it's okay bringing this up. I saw it in a comment. Mike Lee said he had something around 283 assigned hours from in-home supportive
Yeah.
services, and that's about as max as you can get. I started out my first interview. I got assigned 140, um, and that was still being not super honest about my level of independence and my level of function. I was still kind of, just dancing around what I actually was capable of because I was worried about that. And then still I got shafted on the freaking hours. Like it was like kind of a shock because in my county that I originally signed up for in-home supportive services in Northern California, they did assign me the max. It just, I guess, I don't know, like LA was a little different. Now I've gotten that
So I
increase.
was gonna say, county to county, it all varies because I lost a ton of hours when I went from LA to San Bernardino County. I
Yeah,
lost like almost 80 hours a month. So
yeah.
like
Um,
crazy.
and Mike just said it, you need to drool during the interview, basically. And, like, I don't think that's a bad idea if, like, it gets you your hours, but I hate that that's what you have to do. I was able to, with the doctors, no, followed up with my IHSS case manager, and I was honest in that, like, hey, 140 is not enough. I need some more hours for help and care and support. I was honestly not really looking to increase my care, but I wanted to try to get more hours for my caregivers so that they could work for me more comfortably and get the pay and the hours that they deserved. Honestly, um, but also translate to more care and more help for me. I was able to get it increased from 140 to 180. So it wasn't, huge, but it was significantly more than I was dealing with at least. So, I counted it as a W. But Kelly says he doesn't lie. Full stop. He won't. And he'll even take him to court and that like he tells them exactly what they need. If their, you know, definition of, what they believe he needs, for assistance or, like whatever they assign him, if he's not happy with it, took him to court. He said, I think he did it twice, which mad, mad, mad respect. It's one of the hardest things that I've had to do personally is like lie to this case manager about my level of independence because it just like felt like I was one. Why do I have to lie? Why don't I qualify for this level of care, even with this level of independence that I fought my fucking ass to achieve? Like why do I now have to lie to get the actual support that I still need? Like it hurts me, dude. Like it feels so messed up, and it like bothers me
No,
so
it
much.
sucks having to do that, but it's just the way the
Yeah,
system it works for us. Ken just put it in there. It's easy to lose hours and hard to gain them, and that's the
yeah,
way. And then also Olivia mentioned when it's bad, and that's like that. Just because you can do something on your best day does not mean you're going to be able to do that every day. So like
yeah.
get the hours you deserve. So Gary, how many hours do you get in Texas for like caregiving?
I think I'm right at about 140, maybe 160. I had 160, then I had a roommate that considered someone in the house, and that person left. And then I'm waiting for a new evaluation or whatever. So I'm trying to get to 180 because I had that one before, but like they said, they kind of pull them away, and it's hard to get them. My service
Mm-hmm.
coordinator, you know, he he kind of understands it more.
Hmm.
Even though I'm an adventurous person, but I am still 100%. I mean, I can feed myself if you warm the food up, put the fork in my hand. I can do it. If
Yeah,
if it's where in my if it's not on my tray or in my reach, it's just not really gonna happen.
yeah.
Uh, but
Well,
I'm
I mean, it's just I pride myself on being able to do like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but now I feel like I gotta lie and say that I can't feed myself because that's one of the big sections on whether you get crossed off and they don't assign you the hours if you're able to. Which Mike said it like it sucks to have to lie, but it's money. Everyone has to take taken out of their taxes. It's money for that. It's money for you for this express purpose of being a social service to provide care for disabled individuals that otherwise can't receive it. And it is absolutely you're right, and it fucking sucks to have to lie, but we shouldn't feel bad about it at all. Full stop. And I advise allegedly everybody to lie their ass off to get the maximum number of hours.
I mean,
Whether or
you
not
don't
you
have to
use them,
like,
because,
and
you
we're
know,
not saying like if you're like fake a disability, but I mean if you're a quadriplegic, you're a paraplegic, and you need care, like don't just don't overemphasize anything you can
enter
do.
the bed,
Make sure they know you need help with everything.
pretend you're bedbound, and lie your ass off. Because at the end of the day, we should be able to define whatever level of care we require to maintain our health, maintain our independence, maintain our current lifestyle, whatever that may be. As long as it's healthy and it's not hurting ourselves or anybody else, we should be able to make that decision. Because just like Tony said, there's a cognitive dissonance with the reality and like what these people believe is like realistic and like their expectation for a disabled individual when they don't live with a disability themselves. They're not even necessarily educated and like what is required for a quadriplegic or paraplegic. So no, like I mean, I did say it does make me feel bad, and I'll be lying if it does. But it's something I'm going to continue to do, full stop, because I feel like it's my right. It's not a feeling. I know it's my right. It is my human right to have access to this kind of care. And the fact that, I gotta lie to, get like a reasonable expectation of it, like, fuck it, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna
No,
do.
it sucks.
I don't want to go to court, and like that's my other option is, like be honest and like go to court to like advocate for myself and fight for like a right that I absolutely deserve as a human being. No, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm just gonna tell a couple white lies.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we're getting kind of long on the show, I think, here.
Yeah, sorry
We've
for
been
the
going for a
crazy
minute
tangent.
now.
Yeah.
Sarab just brought it up in the chat. We got tomorrow, Tom will be on doing some live gaming. We got some adaptive quad gaming, Sarab. And I don't know who else be gaming with Tom, but we usually have a pretty good crew of
Shout out
gamers
to
on there.
everybody who's been gaming with us, dude.
I know
We got
Mr.
time to play
Wheels is
quads
in
at night,
there.
on
Yeah.
Fortnite, and it's been a lot of fun. So if you just want to come hang out with us, odds are there's going to be a bunch of us hanging out, gaming together. So if you want to get in on the fun, download Fortnite, come and hang out with us. We might be doing some other games and some other stuff too, but it is just an absolutely wonderful time that I really enjoy every week. So shout out T Fizzle Gaming.
Yeah, and then on Thursday, I don't know if Bobby's back yet, but we do have an Over the Hill show. We'll have something going on. I'll probably call today and try to start working that out. And then next week we will have the women's show, and we actually may try to live stream a little bit, at least one of the days from the sports festival. It'd be kind of cool to do a roll around and maybe show you guys some of the stuff that's going on down there, because it is an awesome event. It really is one of the coolest things. If you're anywhere in SoCal, come out
from the festival.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, we got a Mason. Thank you, man. Dropped a $5 super sticker. Thank you. We really appreciate it, Mason.
Appreciate the love.
You gonna be coming up to the festival at all this weekend? You should come out for sure. Yeah, Rob, can't wait to see you on Saturday, man. Looking forward to it. So we got a booth right across from the Rolettes. So shout out, come visit us and the Rolettes. We're all going to be hanging out up at the festival. So,
and shout out to my sister Em, who's an instrumental part of my care and my meal prep and staying healthy and happy. She says people with disabilities are the only people who are put in a position where some organization determines or has a say in what they need. It's BS. We're all human and we all deserve the help we need, and that's absolutely right. They could not have said it better myself. And so you're the best. I love you. Thank you for hanging out, and love everybody. Thank you everybody for hanging out. We appreciate you guys. And lots of love to the little fam.
Yeah, thank you guys all, and yeah, thanks Gary for coming on and sharing your story.
Mike, I'm taking you up on that. Rolling over the hill. I want to have you on. I want you to. We got to have you on, Mike. For sure. Can't forget.
Yeah, actually.
our buddy Gary too, GTB Outreach on Instagram. Gary, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience with traveling, caregivers, with life, dude. You're an amazing individual, and really feeling the love. So thank you so much for coming on, kind of last minute, and helping us like fill out the show, dude.
Hey, and I am hoping because they're doing a low point rugby, which is like the more gimpy players in rugby. They're usually the guys like me that don't handle the ball. They're doing a league, and the Nationals is in Houston Labor Day weekend, or yeah, Labor Day weekend. So I'm trying. As long as my team does well enough, we'll be making it, and I'll be coming, and I'll let you know. But Labor Day weekend, we might be out there playing some
We love that.
rugby. So you should come out.
Nice, nice.
So
But
hopefully.
we appreciate you, Gary. Thank you for coming on, man. Anything else you want to say or add before we wrap it up?
Um, I don't know. I've been saying this for a while. It's your life. Live it. Don't forget it. Embrace it.
That's it, baby.
That's a good. That's a nice. Yeah, that's good, bro. That's a good way to end it. I like it. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week. Live to roll, everybody.
Love you guys.